inspiring passage. Love everyone. Help others. Welcome strangers. Be happy with those who are happy and cry with those who are crying. Be on fire with the Spirit when you serve the Lord. Consider everyone equal. Live at peace with all people. Yes. Yes. Wouldn't it be lovely if Paul could have left it at that? Just a list of sweet, inspiring statements to embroider on a pillow or, make into a Facebook meme. But no, Paul has to go and add the hard parts. Bless the people who harass you and don't curse you. Really, Paul? But what about that guy who just cut me off on the freeway? Surely it's okay to respond with just a little sign language. What about that person who calls me names on Facebook? I don't have to stand for that, do I? I can call them names back, right? I can post something mean about the people who are mean to me and call them names anonymously, can't I? Yeah. No. Even his direction to try to outdo each other in showing each other honor can get a little weird. Like, the cartoon characters Chip and Dale. After you.
Oh, no, after you.
No, after you.
Well, I insist, after you.
No, you go first.
No, I'd rather you would.
Oh, but after you.
Oh, no.
That can get downright annoying. If somebody doesn't decide to accept the honor of going first. Not to mention blocking a doorway forever while you try to decide who's going to go through it first. I was planning a wedding some years back, and as I was leaving, the bride, who came from Japan, bowed to me. And so I bowed a little deeper because I'd been her guest. I wanted to show her honor. So she bowed deeper. So I bowed deeper. And she bowed enough that she touched her head to her knees. Yeah, she was limber. I decided to accept that. It turns out she was honoring me because I was the pastor. So, anyway, that was fun. Paul says, hate evil. That's easy. But then he says, don't pay back anyone for their evil actions with evil actions. But Paul, what about the guys that were in those pictures? What about the people who spew hatred and evil? What about the people who attack the innocent just because they're different in one way or another? What about those people? We have to, love them. I imagine you all know that when Westboro Baptist Church is expected to show up, one of two things usually happens. If it is a funeral, then a group of people, either people wearing giant angel wings or veterans on motorcycles, will act as a barricade so the family doesn't have to deal with that ugliness. And if it's another sort of event, people will show up to peacefully counter protests with silly signs like God hates signs, which may be one of my favorite signs of all time. They have practically become poster children for misplaced rage. In fact, there's a meme running around on the internet that says, live your life in such a way that Westboro Baptist Church wants to picket your funeral. And those guys in the white robes burning the cross, well, there's no way really to make fun of them. But like members of the Westboro Baptist Church, they firmly believe that they are right in believing and speaking and acting the way that they do. Many others consider their actions to be evil, but Paul says, don't pay back anyone for their evil actions with evil actions, but show respect for what everyone else believes is good. And he says, don't be defeated by evil, but defeat evil with good. Note please that Paul does not say, don't get angry. Nor does he say, don't protect yourself from people who harass you or do evil actions toward you. He says, don't try to get even. Leave revenge to the Lord. And he says, if possible, to the best of your ability, live at peace with all people. And then he says what I think is the coolest thing ever. If your enemy's hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him a drink. By doing this, you will pile burning coals of fire on his head. That's genius. It makes you feel like you're getting revenge without doing anything wrong. I've heard people say, I may have been one of them, that when somebody did the wrong in one way or another, they'd just smile. And then whenever they see that person, they just smile. And that person be watching their back all the time, waiting for the revenge to happen. Not realizing, of course, that that was the revenge. Which may or may not be what Paul had in mind. Probably not. But it is what the Samaritan did. Stopping to help a Jew, an enemy, and even putting him up in an inn, spending his own money to help him recover from his injuries. That was loving your enemy. What Paul does here is take Jesus' teachings about loving your enemies and give us concrete examples of how to do that. And to answer the person in this cartoon asking if Jesus meant the Romans, yes, he did. He meant the Romans. And the guy who cheated you on that car sale, and the Klan, and the people who talk bad about you on Facebook, and anybody you might consider enemy. Repaying evil with good is like fighting fire with water, which is how you're supposed to fight fire. Sometimes you have to fight it with fire. Sometimes a fire break removes all the possible fuel in the path to keep the fire from spreading further because it burns out having exhausted all of its fuel. It's really hard to keep fighting with somebody if they won't fight back. It just is. Turning the other cheek, refusing to respond with anger to anger, finding ways to do good in response to evil being done by others, that is what Paul says that we need to do. That's what Jesus means when he says love your enemy. Even the Romans, even the Klan, even religious people whose understandings of God cause them to hate you. Love is wanting the best for other people, regardless of how they behave or how they treat you. Love is caring for others when they need care, no matter who they are, like the people. When you hear evil, respond with good. When you hear hateful speech, respond with love. Love one another, even your enemy, especially your enemy, because it's easy to love your friends, but being a Christian is not supposed to be easy. If you want to be a Christian, and you haven't yet been baptized, or if you want to become part of Christ's family here at First Christian Church, you're invited to come forward during the singing of our hymn of commitment. They'll know we are Christians.